parents. Amen. I know some in our fellowship never really knew their parents. Then we have those who've lost children, and that's one of the hardest things. Is that not right? Probably the hardest. And then along with that, because here's something that we normally don't think about is when you've lost a child, and now, especially if you're the matriarch or the patriarch of your family, you're the one of faith, and you've got grandchildren who've lost their daddy or their mommy. Wow. You know, that raises the bar, because it raises an awareness. It also puts a pretty good sized burden upon us, because sometimes it makes it difficult for us to grieve. It makes it difficult for us to show how much we hurt when we're trying to comfort the children who've lost their parents, even though you might have been the parent of a child. And you've lost your child. FYI, there's no going back. Right. You hear me? There's just no going back. But we can still, listen, if you can't go back, what's our choice?
Forward. Go
forward.
Or stand.
Forward. If you stand, you die.
Keep moving on.
We have to move forward. It's called, this faith is a move of forward. The Bible says that we press forward to the high mark and the high calling in Christ. So we move forward.
Amen.
Now, there are times where you feel like you cannot, but that's when you really need to start. Here's what happens. When you've reached the end of you, that's where God begins. Yep. I'll say that again. When you've reached the end of you, that's when God begins.
Amen.
That's why we were told in Scripture that you have to die to live. And it doesn't, listen, it doesn't make sense. I'll say logically, it doesn't add up. And I'll talk about that in a little bit when we read. Matter of fact, we'll be in John chapter 8 as Jesus talking about his departure, and it didn't add up with their thinking. Amen? There's a lot of things that don't add up today. And I'll get a chance to make comments throughout today, probably throughout this week, because you're going to have all sorts of things that are going on. There is one thing, though, that is going on, and I'm going to kind of take a step on a high note. A few weeks ago, I don't know, someone say, well, it should have been a turning point in my life. Yeah, what is that? I reached a new decade.
Praise the Lord.
That's what I said. Yeah. And, I turned 60. Yeah, and some of my friends, God bless them, I guess, they said, well, you know what? I have a picture of it. I just looked at one of your pictures, and you don't look any different than when you were 45. How do you take that? I mean,
It's a good thing.
I said, but wait a minute. I'm a little bit grayer, okay? But,
Wiser.
That's right.
why? Oh, thank you. Brother Barry, we're wiser. Amen. But,
So they say.
But here's the thing. I can't go back to 45. I can't go back to 25. I can't go back to 16. Not that I want to. Although, you know what? At age 16, I met a girl. Yeah. Changed me. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I'm married to her, by the way. Oh, now she's smiling. See, that's red. But you can't go back. And it's wonderful when you realize that we're to walk a life of Christ, and it's always a move forward. It's not, this ain't part of my message, but I want to toss it out there. We can't live like, how many of you would say your life when you came to Jesus has gotten better?
Amen.
I'm not saying okay, here's one. Let me see what kind of answer I get. How many of you your life got easier?
Amen.
Amen.
Oh, mine didn't get easier.
Busier.
I know it's not even that. It's not easier. But it's less burdensome.
Right.
Amen.
The Holy Spirit guides.
See, the idea here is we've got to understand our language. If you tell somebody, hey, if you come to Jesus, everything gets easy. You just lied to them.
Yes, you did.
Now, here's what I find out. You still have the same load to bear. You've got to live your life. But you're not alone.
Amen.
And it goes more than just being spiritual. How many of you know that listen, I'll say this, it's kind of a hybrid kind of a promise. Christ came, sent his Spirit to indwell in our flesh, but not just your flesh alone. I don't have time for that. You're going to hear that in subsequent messages. That's where we get ourselves in trouble, when we feel that, listen, he's dwelling in my flesh alone. Just so you know, there ain't enough for me for the Holy Spirit. Amen. There's a lot more that are you getting this?
Yeah.
So you can't go back, but you can move forward. And sometimes it's going to be difficult. Sometimes you have to go against the wind. Sometimes you have to go against the waves. Sometimes you have to go against the crowd.
Amen.
I should say this. Sometimes I feel like I'm just moving around. I'm steady moving, but I ain't gaining ground. Everybody been there? You got to remember, you're not here to stay. I'm looking forward to a brighter day. Got to remember, I'm not here for long. I'm just living in my temporary home, but I'm living.
Amen.
Loving every minute of it, and living, amen? And love it. Listen, if you would, you got to realize that you can't just love this life, but you need to love in this life. Oh my gosh, I'm waxing poetic today. Jesus must be in the house. But you can't go back. There are certain things that happen. Birthdays. Sister Leah.
Oh.
Yes.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Sister Leo. Happy birthday to you. Would you stand, please? Would you stand? As a matter of fact, would you take a little walk with my wife? We're going to tell her life story. You got time? Okay, just this moment. We'll tell her about her life story in this moment. In this moment, we just wanted to recognize the fact that you have continued to move forward. And you have refused to quit. You have refused to go back. Because for one reason, you have the wisdom to know you can't.
Nowhere to go.
Amen.
Here?
Well, I mean back.
Amen.
Nowhere back.
Now, if you want to go back, where would we go?
Yeah.
Especially if you knew you can't change it. I think we'll continue on forward. Get this, life is an adventure. We're going to continue forward, amen? So this is certainly a small token, and Debbie and I aren't done. Honoring you and just loving you. We do love you, amen?
Appreciate it.
Amen.
They're beautiful. Wow.
They match your eyes.
Yeah. Oh, no, that was.
Let's just say it matches your outfit.
No.
God bless you. May the Lord keep you and shine his hands upon you. Amen. Church all said?
Amen.
I will say this. A long time ago, not so long ago actually for some people, there was a handful of people in a small town called New Buffalo. And she is one of the few who were there. Her name is on the original roster as the Church of God in New Buffalo was organized. And back then, it had a different name. Do you remember the name, Sister Leo? It wasn't the Lighthouse Village.
No, it was just New Buffalo Church of God or something.
Actually, there was a time when it was called the Friendly Church of God.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that?
No. Well, I do remember being that, so it's not, they didn't call. I don't
And
think
now the building that the fellowship, the church used to reside in is a dentist office.
Right.
So you can still go get care. Anyway, but somebody, would you give her a hand clap of praise? Praise the Lord. And
Amen.
I've got a couple of clips. We'll bring the lights down. Or sister, oh, you know what, sister, would you do it for me? Bring the house lights down. I got a couple of clips I want to play for you. But first off, one of them that has to do with God blessing America, and there's a statement that's being made, and then there's another. I'll just let you see. I want you to let some things sink in. Because I know it's difficult. God can't bless a nation that's not under Him.
Amen.
I'm going to say it again. God cannot bless a nation that's not under Him. However, if we pray and we have an understanding to know where we're not, get this. How many of you have ever prayed for anybody else who was outside the faith? And you wish God to bless them. What would that look like? That He would save them, amen? That the Holy Spirit would come and are you getting this?
Yeah.
So we can have that kind of an attitude that God can change the hearts of the people, amen? So without further ado, let me see if I can get this thing to play for us today. Oh, that's not it.
One nation under God. A nation forged on the sacrifice of pilgrims, pioneers, and patriots. Men and women who trusted God, who knew creation and much to offer, and who believed in something bigger than themselves. A nation grown strong through the vision of inventors, idealists, and innovators. We've given humanity wings, even sent them to the moon. We've done the impossible and haven't been afraid to roll up our sleeves and do the hard work.
And not what your country can do for you, but you can do for your country.
And above all, we thank God for our Christian foundation, the strength of our nation, and the many blessings He's bestowed upon our sweet land of liberty. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. God bless America.
Can you say it with me? God bless.
America.
You know, we've seen this, God bless America, land that I love, stand beside her and guide her.
Come on, we need
That's good. So some of you actually know the songs, but I'm here to tell you, it's just like we can't sing our favorite hymn. We can't sing our, some of us, how many can do the national anthem?
Yeah.
I mean, think about this. I'll lighten it up a little bit. How many of you know there's a price to pay if you forget your wife's birthday? Or anniversary? I mean, all these things, how much more important is it to remember the nation and the God which is the God that you love?
Amen.
I mean, some of the simple things really do matter. But if we're just kind of going along, and giving things no thought, that's one thing that makes us different than the rest of the rest of creation. We have the ability to do something. Dogs and our pets, dogs in particular, mostly dogs. Some of you know they say dogs are what? A man's best friend. Their dog can be loyal. I mean, I knew some people that I had some friends I had a heart friendship with, and really they hated me because I had their dogs taken away from them. Why? Because they abused them. But do you know what really sad about it? Those dogs cried when they got taken away. That'd be a whole other message, but do you hear where I'm going with this? They were loyal to their master, even the one that beat them. Wow.
Sounds like the Egyptians out of Israel.
So today, when we think about America, there are many things. Our value system is, the Bible talks about it. It says that, they were called good evil. And they're called evil good. Amen?
Amen.
Which brings us to this video. I have to be on the sound because I don't know how long it's going to be.
The American dream or American nightmare. Elm Street to Fifth Ave, contentment is quite rare. I'm hanging with the Joneses, but NASDAQ don't fight fair. I'm sold out, but thinking I ain't getting what's my share. The pursuit of happiness is marked with an asterisk. Happiness is capital, trust in God is blasphemous. Success success is measured by the length of your asset list. The American way, get money. There's nothing after this. So I'm 9 years old and saving my allowance. For nothing in particular, just like to see the balance. 16 been balling, but eyeballing scholarships. College, not the knowledge, but pursuing what the dollar gets. 19 years old and picking a major. And my peers are telling me, choose what gets the paper. Job satisfaction and passion can come later. Uninspired business major, hope business is major. But everybody's studying the culinary arts. Bread, dough, cheddar, cheese, and bacon are just the start. Out to make cake, stack chips without the salsa. Sacrifice my calling on that dead president's altar. Graduation day, feel like my joy's been stolen. I'm employed, but my greed destroyed these moments. I'm gifted other places, but avoid the enjoyment of less lucrative callings that the world calls boyish. It's time to man up. Got a wife, bought a home. A first-time homeowner getting owned by the loans. Luxury cars, flat screens, and iPhones. And a couple of kids who'll be like me when they're grown. So I'm planning my retirement, late life environment. Storing up my wealth, and it's fear that I'm inspired with. 401k and Roth IRA. I place my trust in my trust fund. I trust the sun someday. And this is how we living in the US of A. Even Christians get it twisted, gripping wallets tight on Sunday. Hear me though, among the most misquoted verses of our time, the love of money is the root of evil of all kinds. God doesn't hate riches, wealth itself is not a sin. It's the love of money that leaves a righteous man condemned. So if you're blessed, most deaf, give thanks and celebrate it. But if not, don't let your stress get elevated. Wealth comes with responsibility, in fact. More money, more problems, pumping big roulette. I put my head to the pillow, pray for trust in the sun, while Satan's laughing to the bank, saying trust your income. But I have a dream that will wake from the slumber, and this bigger, better mode theology will crumble.
Souls in danger, look up. Jesus completely saves. He will lift you by his love out of the angry waves. He's the master of the sea. He'll his will obey. He, your Savior, wants to be saved today. Love lifted me. Love lifted me when nothing else could help. Love lifted me. Love lifted me. Love lifted me when nothing else could help. Love lifted me. And if you want to see any of that again, just let me know. I'll send it to you. I'll let you see it again. Amen. I'll get you the videos. Amen. Because listen, there's a time and a place for everything. And there's how many of those there's always a time to love Jesus.
Amen.
And understand, I mean, even the words of this song, if you think about this. Did you catch what he said? You know, one day I'll trust in the Son. Right now, I don't trust my, are you getting that? A 401k, a Roth IRA. Maybe later I'll trust in the Son. Now, what does that look like? And get this, do you realize, oh, I got to give you this now. Oh, Lord. I'm waxing poetic up in here. A trust fund. Think about that for a moment. What if I told you you were part of the Lord's trust fund?
Amen.
Amen.
You are part, or supposed to be part of the Lord's trust fund. Now, if it was J.G. Wentworth, here's what you'd be saying. It's my money, and I want it now.
Amen.
Am I right? But get this. Turn to your neighbor right now and tell them, you know what? I want to trust in the love you have for me. Because I trust in the love that God has for you. And listen, one of the things that we learn that the Bible teaches and God really reveals to us through His Son is that we should love God, loving others as ourselves, and He was the embodiment of that very thing. Amen?
Amen.
I think I need to preach in here too. But before I preach, I want to ask if Brother Ed and Brother Harold would stand, and if Brother Ed would say a prayer and receive the offering. And while they're getting ready to come around, you can open your Bibles to John chapter 8.
Lord, thank you for another day of grace. Thank you for the word we're going to receive. Thank you for the ears that they're going to hear it. Thank you for it's going to impact our lives. And we thank you and praise your name for this, Lord. And as we take you up to the offering, let it bless you and your church. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen, amen. So, it's a day of independence. It's a season in which we celebrate. Yes?
Ask for prayer.
Oh, we have Sister Linda, prayer words.
Sure.
His name is Lou.
He's going in for results today. Tomorrow I'm taking him. He had ever had a charred horse? He has these in his body. 46 hours a day at a time where he's just contorted. And I've been asking for prayer for him. Tomorrow they let him know if he has, they call up Huntington, Korea. And if he does, there's something that they can do. If not, just
Then there's something we can do. Amen? Amen, amen. Ladies, would you right now lay hands upon her right now? Father, today, Lord, we have come to celebrate. But Lord, we also come, Lord, to bring our burdens. Lord, the word says that we can bring our burdens and cast them on you. Lord, cast our cares upon you because you care for us. And today, Lord, our sister is totally overwhelmed, Lord, with the concern for this man. God, that you would touch Lou right where he is. God, that you would reveal yourself, Lord, through these circumstances. And that, God, that there would be hope and help that's available. Today we pray in the Spirit, Father, but we also pray in truth. But Lord, we ask God today that you would move in such a mighty way that, Lord, that your presence would be made known in, oh, hallelujah, in the world today. Touch and heal, and save into the uttermost. In Jesus' name. In Jesus' name. Hallelujah. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Hallelujah. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Amen. Amen.
He doesn't know you as Lord and Savior. But we pray your will be done in Jesus' name. In Jesus' name. Have your way, Father. In Jesus' name. Jesus.
Amen. Amen. How many believe that Jesus can heal? How many believe that Jesus can save? How many believe Jesus? There was something that the artist, the rapper had said that what happens that many times about, and he talks about fear. We're motivated and driven by fear. And sometimes that's true. But we need to understand what fear is for. What is fear for? What does it do? What is its purpose? I was with someone the other day who was actually pretty close to me, and he made an assessment, and he was saying to me, he said, "Well, you know," he said, "I noticed that I've rarely seen you." They stopped. "No, I've never seen you afraid." And I said, "Well, what should I be afraid of?" Now, just so you understand, I'm not talking about, I'm a man and I'm not scared of nothing. No, that's not it. Because I do get scared once in a while. You know, I have ridden with some people that have been scared. Let me out, you know. One of them just left the room, by the way. So I'm not gossiping. Would you pray for me? I'm gossiping. Because you're wondering now. Wait a minute. 1, 2, there were 3. Just okay. One of them's a professional. He's never scared me. Has he ever scared you?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyhow, what is fear for? What is fear for? Because the fear of the Lord is the beginning of what? It's the beginning of wisdom. Not just knowledge, wisdom. You can have all kinds of knowledge and lack wisdom. What good is that? Matter of fact, I'm going to hit on that in just a little bit. But before I do, let's go to the book of John. And I'm not sure how much we'll get to share today. We're not going to sing it. I want to sing some more today. Amen? In John chapter 8. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay, John chapter 8. And we're going to go about halfway through. And let's pick up in verse 21. I'm going to tell you what's going on here. Right now, Jesus has got an audience, and many of them are the Pharisees. And just so you understand and know, not all the Pharisees, really, honestly, not all the Pharisees were quote-unquote bad people. Many of them were misled. They had different ideas. And most of the Pharisees, probably all the ones that I ever read about, they were educated people. They were knowledgeable. And they did have some wisdom. But they were still just people. Amen? So Jesus is having a discussion with these people, and I don't have time to go back into this. This is something we can go back and read to get up to where we're at right now. But one thing that happens is just before these verses that we're about to share, Jesus has to stand and offer testimony, and he defends himself. So here we are in verse 21. And because after he's done, listen to what he says here. I'm going to back up a little bit further. In verse 18, he says, I am the one who bears witness of myself, and the Father who sent me bears witness of me. Then they said to him, where is your Father? And Jesus answered, you know neither me nor my Father. If you had known me, you would have known my Father also. And these words Jesus spoke in the treasury as he taught in the temple. And no one, say no one.
No one.
No one laid hands on him, for his hour had not yet come. I could take and run off on a bunny trail on that. Just so you know, God has your day's numbered.
Amen.
Amen? Amen. That's just a very small side note. But then we go to verse 21. Because Jesus didn't stop there. He says, then Jesus said to them again, I'm going away, and you will seek me, and will die in your sin. Where I go, you cannot come. And so the Jews said, will he kill himself because he says, where I go, you cannot come? And he said to them, you are from beneath, I am from above. You are of this world, I am not of this world. Therefore I said to you that you will die in your sins, for if you do not believe that I am he, you will die in your sins. Then he said to them, then they said to him, who are you? And Jesus said to them, just what I have been saying to you from the beginning. I have many things to say and to judge concerning you. And he who sent me is true, and I speak to the world those things which I heard from him. They did not understand them. Say they didn't understand.
They did not understand.
That he spoke to them of the Father. Then Jesus said to them, when you lift up the Son of Man, then you will know that I am he, and that I do nothing of myself. But as my Father taught me, I speak these things. And he who sent me is with me. The Father has not left me alone, for I always do the things that please him. As he spoke these words, many believed. Say, what's this? As he spoke these words, many believed. I'll say it again. As he spoke these words, many believed. I'm going to take a side note. Just step out here for a moment. Standing from the side note. It's a testimony. Jesus just provided a testimony of himself. He bore witness of himself. He said, listen, I'm bearing witness of myself, and also the Father bears witness of me.
Amen.
But notice how the witnesses, how the testimony is coming out. He speaks the words. You see, it's interesting that many of us, we don't have a testimony because we're not really sure how to say it. We're not sure how to communicate it. Some would say, well, it was easy for Jesus because after all, he's God. Wait a second, he's also a man. It was not easy for him. But if you think about this, how many of you know that Jesus should have been afraid because he already knew they were plotting to kill him. But he wasn't afraid to tell them the truth. Amen? When we look at these things, we see that he had to speak the words, and there were some, say some, who believed. Many times we'll be in a setting with people, and we're concerned about who's not going to believe us. All I can tell you is, like I said last week, with the story of the starfish that was being thrown back into the ocean, all it takes is one to hear and be saved.
Amen.
It was worth it. Amen?
Amen.
Let's move on. Then Jesus said to those Jews who believed in him, hold it, who believed in him? Some Jewish people believed in him. Listen to what he said to them, and he says to us today, if you abide in my word, and listen, if you abide in my word, you are my disciples indeed. And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall what?
Set you free.
They answered him, listen to this, well, we are Abraham's descendants, and we have never been in bondage to anyone. How can you say that you will be made free? And Jesus said to them, most assuredly I say to you, whoever commits sin is a slave to sin. And a slave does not abide in the house forever, but a son abides forever. Therefore, if the Son makes you free, you shall be what? Freed indeed.
Amen.
Verse 37. I know that you are Abraham's descendants. Get this. But you seek to kill me, because my word has no place in you. I speak what I have seen. I have seen with my father, and you do what you have seen with your father. They answered and said to him, Abraham is our father. Now wait a second. These are people who believed, but they still argued. And the reason they argued is because they were still carnally minded. They still understand only with the gray matter. They still weren't, listen, they were not worshiping him in spirit and in truth. They didn't know him in the spirit yet. They only know him by word. And get this, many of them knew him by deed. They knew some miracles that he had done. They knew, they had seen, they had heard. Yet still they had this thing in them. How many know many times that what's ingrained into us is exactly that, it's ingrained. And you've got to get things out by the roots. Amen. And Jesus said to them, if you were Abraham's children, you would do the works of Abraham. But now you seek to kill me, a man who has told you the truth, which I heard from God. Abraham did not do this. You do the deeds of your father. Wait a second. Now what's he saying? Is he telling them they don't know who their daddy is? Is he telling us, if you say that you are the sons of Abraham, but he's actually telling them something else? No, you're not. Because if you were truly the sons of Abraham, you would do his work. He was implying to them that they had another father. You see, it's difficult today because many people who are in the church, we say things about, I'll say maybe vices or habits or maybe addictions or maybe different ideas, and we'll actually confess our faults. And then we'll make this blanket statement that we are under the blood. As if we can as if we can be under the blood and still be in our sin. I said this on Thursday, and I thought it might be one of the most profound things that ever came to my mind. To say those sort of things and remain in your sin is a slap in the face of Jesus.
Amen.
Amen.
And you are not his.
Come on.
And sometimes the signs do follow. They'll know that you are mine by the love that you show one for another, was the topic for Thursday night. And what I want to bring to you also is that they're going to, listen, how many of you know they're going to judge you by the fruit?
Amen.
Yes. Amen.
And many times we're not really sure what that means. But I hope today that you come to a place of, I'll say, a different understanding, that perhaps maybe you'll get where we're coming from, because many times we try to think things out, and some of you know that out in the world, I'm a technical kind of a guy, and I have to work with math and science and physics, and that's what they call laws of physics. Did you know if you step off the ladder before you're at the bottom rung, you're still coming down? It's the law of gravity, amen? And just so you know, at 60 years old, you don't bounce anymore. Yeah, I just confessed. Nobody got to see it, but I just confessed. Well, Harold knows, he was there that day. He didn't see it either. He was in the house drinking sweet tea. Yeah. I had to come in the house and tell him. I told myself because I was sure someone was watching. So, but let me bring this to you. Today I want to share a message to you because we talk about Independence Day. We talk about the season which we're in, and I know it's about those who laid down their lives for our freedom. And I do not want to take away from that. But I want to fix our eyes on something else, fix our attention to something else, and maybe someone else. Because there are many who gave their lives.
Yes.
Amen. And the Bible talks about, that perhaps maybe someone would lay down their life for a friend, but rarely would someone lay down their life for an enemy. And Jesus certainly laid down his life for enemies. Amen. Amen. So I want to talk to you today about true freedom. And I hope I can get this out in the amount of time that I'm allotted this morning. Imagine, if you would, a husband talking to his wife. They're at a nice restaurant, perhaps for maybe for her birthday, or maybe it's her anniversary. And he's done it right. Gary, he's got the candles lit. It's a nice quiet place, secluded. You don't have to. I live some places. I love the food, but I can't stand the noise, especially if I want to have a talk with my wife. If she wants to talk to me, I'll take it. Never mind. But the candle is lit. And he lights the candle, and see, when he lights the candle, it's kind of how many of you know when you light that candle for that dinner, it's kind of an expression of your love. Barry, just take notes, okay? Come on, baby, light my fire. So you light the candle to express your love for your wife. And then you start quoting a list of things. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. Well, you're 5'4". You weigh 120 pounds. You were born in whatever month that you were born. You have brown hair and brown eyes, and you live in whatever street, which happens to be the street that you live on. I mean, isn't that great? It's all true, right? But now imagine the same situation, but the same husband says something like this. When he starts telling her how much he loved her, he says, you walk in beauty like the night, of cloudless climes and starry skies. And all that is blessed of dark and night meet in the aspect of your eyes. He just described the beauty of her love, of his love for her. Amen? Amen. I mean, while the romantically challenged husband in that first situation, he communicated information, facts and figures, and stated the truth. He failed to communicate the depth and the magnitude and the beauty of his love for his mate. You see, love is more than a list of facts and figures. It's more than information. Love is mysterious, and love is about this beautiful relationship between two people. Amen. That is why poetry is often used to express this type of an emotion, and to express this beautiful attraction that lovers feel one towards the other. And if you take a moment, have you ever seen a couple? I call them, not from the TV show, but they're odd couple. And you sit and you see these people, and you learn that they're married and they've got children, and you're looking, and I got to tell you, Brother Ed, I saw this guy the other day, and I spoke it out. with the people that was with me, and I had to ask for forgiveness later. So anyway, but I said, what in the world did she ever see in him?
Understand?
And I've seen it the other way around. I've seen it the other way around. You know, how do I love thee? Let me count the ways. And what I'm saying here is you go back to the rapper, and the rapper tells you about the worldly things and the worldly values and things like that. You know, what do they say about these glamour magazines? It's all fake. It's all touched up photos. Anybody else in here, would you like to touch up your life? Just to make it look better to the rest of the world. See, I mentioned the use of poetry to introduce this idea, and maybe to some of you it's a new idea of what Jesus is speaking about here in John chapter 8. Jesus does not use poetry, but he is proclaiming information. He shares information that is explosive, it is emotional, but it's also transformational. You know, the concepts of truth, sin, and freedom, they're more than a fill-in-the-blank on a Sunday school list, on your exam, or on your Sunday school paper when you go to Sunday school. You see, we have a hint that the subjects that are discussed here in John, right here in chapter 8, verse 31 to 36, they are pretty big theological concepts. He offers freedom. He offers freedom from the nature or condition then that enslaved the people. He talked about being enslaved. And what did they say? We've never been slaves. We are the... Hear what they're saying? We've never been slaves. What are you talking about? We've never been slaves. But he's telling them that if you want... Listen, you shall know the truth, and the truth what? Set you free. He also talks about the lineage. We've never been, we are the children, listen, we are the sons of Abraham. We've never been slaves. But how many of you know that earlier on in the same book, the book of John, it says this: Satan hides the truth because it frees. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. You see, they start saying, we're the sons of Abraham. Who's your father? And Jesus says, if you were the sons of Abraham, if you were, listen, you're not the sons of Abraham, or otherwise you would not be doing what you're about to do right now. Amen. That is not Abraham. He's telling them, listen, in the natural, they know they were from the lineage. They were from the bloodline of Abraham. In the natural, but in the spirit, they were not. There comes a time that we need to be able to understand this, that if your spirit is, if it doesn't match the Spirit of God, then you're not His. We go all the way back to Adam. Sons and daughters of Adam, we act like Adam, guys, don't we? We want to blame things on other people. We don't want to take responsibility. That's a whole other message. We'll get there later. Jesus makes perhaps one of the most amazing, inspirational claims in history. I mean, consider a moment, right there, just a moment, that incredible hope expressed in this promise that Jesus can set people free.
Amen.
See, unless you have lived a sheltered life, you have probably experienced an enslaved soul, or you have known loved ones who struggle to break free from some ungodly chains. And many times we don't recognize our own chains because we're too busy watching other people with theirs. That'll be another message too. But the thing is that these ungodly chains may be easy to identify, like, I'll say this, moral addictions. I have a list here. Moral addictions can be chains. How about this? There are some addictions that are more acceptable. Here's a list for you. Fear, greed, poverty, worldliness, doubt, anger, bitterness, legalism, racism, insecurity, despair, and depression. These are chains that bind. Just so you know, the list goes on and on and on. Are you hear what I'm saying? You get this. Nothing of itself is sin. It's what we make of it. Think about being spirit-led. Think about what the difference is of walking in the spirit and walking in the flesh.
Amen.
It says if you walk in the spirit, you'll not succumb. You'll not submit to the flesh. You see, a failure to experience the abundant life promised by Jesus indicates that we are still in bondage. I said this a few weeks ago, and now I know why I said it. There are many who are saved, but they're still in bonds.
Amen.
They're still bound. I mean, they live in bondage, even though Jesus has offered them freedom. You see, the freedom offered by Jesus is spiritual. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And you go back here, you go back to, all who sin are slaves to sin. Isn't that what we just read? All who sin are slaves to sin. And if you come to a place, and you can say this, Ron, you can say this, I just can't help myself. Well, that's good, because there's help for you. No one can help themselves. The good preacher right there.
Amen.
I just can't help myself. That's good. It's good that you recognize you can't help yourself. There's one who can.
Amen.
And not only that, but there are those who are His who will help you.
Amen.
Yep.
If we are the body, right?
Around His arms reaching. I was singing that this morning.
Amen. And you tell people, Jesus is the way. You don't just tell them that and point. No, you may have to tell them that and take them by the hand.
Amen.
They'll get another message too. You see, the idea here is that freedom, listen, freedom is not a political revolution. It's not just about politics. True freedom is about changing it's about changing the inward person. It's not necessarily about changing your outward circumstances. I mean, how many times since I've been in ministry, have I seen husband and wife, and they're constantly at odds with each other because he or she couldn't change her or him. They can't change each other, and so they spend a lot of time, instead of anybody growing close to Christ, they stay close together so they can duke it out better.
Yep, I've seen that.
Or they do something else like, okay, you can go to hell if you want to, but I'm done with this, and then they leave. That's a whole different topic to talk about, but I'm telling you today that one thing that has to happen is that first off, you need to show the love of Christ to them.
Amen.
Ministry begins at home. That's one of the hardest places, is at home.
Amen.
And Jesus reveals it's not about changing your outward circumstances. It's a significant concept because it reveals that Jesus can free you from wherever you are. Paul said this, wherever you find yourself, be there and be content. You don't have to be satisfied with it. The thing that we recognize, and the Lord has been wrestling with me, or maybe I've been wrestling with Him, and that's why I walk with a limp. But I speak to Him about circumstances. I speak to Him about how things are, and He always seems to come about somehow in His Word. It comes to me like this word today. He says, "Listen, don't worry about it. I'm with you. Don't worry about it." You can't change people. Only God can.
Amen.
And God can't do it unless they are willing to be changed.
Amen.
You shall know the truth. You see, Paul was on the road to Damascus, and he was persecuting Christians. And God saved him right there. Jesus shows up to him. Wait a minute, that prodigal son, he was in a pig pen when he came to his senses. And then there was Peter in that fishing boat. How about that woman that was drawing water from the well? Right where she was at. And then how about that other woman? That woman that was caught in the very act of adultery. You know, there was a thief on the cross. You remember that story? The thief on the cross, right there, he's being executed, and Jesus set his soul free. Right there on the cross.
Amen.
Spiritual freedom is not dependent upon physical circumstances.
Amen.
Well, if I could just live in a different place, if I could just be with a different group of people, if I could do this and do that. Let me tell you, even God shows us through His Word. If you follow the story of Israel as they were traveling through the land and what they were supposed to do while they're there, it's the same thing we're supposed to do: make disciples.
Amen.
Take possession of the land that you've been given. Amen?
Amen.
Jesus can set you free. He can set you free in your marriage without causing a divorce. Jesus can set you free when you're overdrawn in your checkbook without ever making a deposit to the bank. Jesus can set you free from your past. Oh, I should stop there for a minute. Some of us, that's the platform from which we leap. We leap off of the platform of the past failures. And our past failures begin to infect our future success, or should I say, stop future success. For whom the Son is set free is free indeed. So sometimes we get caught up in our past failures or maybe our current failures without you loading up a U-Haul. He wants to fix you right where you are.
Amen.
Now, don't misunderstand the concept of what I'm talking about. We may need to make, or Christ may lead us to make, some physical or maybe some circumstantial changes. I mean, really, we could jump off real easy with what we see with our eyes. Brother Harold knows about this. Others know. Anybody who's come to work out with me. But eventually, we're going to get down to talking about other habits. You're smoking, get rid of it.
Amen.
That's right, because that's a sin. No, it's just bad for your body. Maybe it's a sin. But that's something like that. Are you getting this? No, wait, watch this. You eat too much bacon. Oh, Lord, I love bacon.
Is that possible?
Is it? Yeah, that's what I want to know. I was at a place recently and they had bacon on the dessert menu.
Where's that at?
Yeah. Wow.
Sounds good.
How do I love bacon? Let me count the ways.
That's Pastor Ron. Bacon.
Really?
Very good.
But don't misunderstand this concept to mean something it doesn't. There are times that we have to make changes. But one of the main truths of divine freedom in Jesus is more concerned about setting your soul free than defeating the Roman Empire. Yes, Lord, I got it. Do I look embarrassed? I hope not. Have you ever been in a situation that you just, you really didn't like what was going on? Maybe you were working for a taskmaster, or maybe you're married to one. Or maybe there's just certain things in your life where it just isn't going as you think it should. And it shouldn't be that way. But there are times when you just have to have peace where you're at. Amen. You may not be able to make the changes. What I'm talking about is God isn't going to work on the external forces. At first, He's going to work from the inside. Say, Lord, change me from the inside. The idea of this freedom also is not just so you can do what you want to do. There's a purpose. Jesus describes the freedom that He offers resulting from abiding in His truth. Freedom is not a lack of restraint that allows one to fulfill your selfish desires. Just to do what you want to do and not do what you're... And listen, only do what you know you're supposed to do, but only if it's easy. Only if it doesn't... you don't have to strain yourself. But genuine freedom takes place in the arena, or let me say that the stadium of divine truth. I wish I had some graphics to put up on there, that you could be out there like in the arena or in the stadium, because in the time that I'm talking about, there was something that went on. They had gladiators and stuff out there, fighting to the death. And we're in the divine stadium of the truth. And as we abide in Christ, we are released from the chains of the world, and we are released to be all that God has created us to be, as long as we will be freed from ourselves. He says if you try to save your life, you're going to lose it. But if you would lose your life for Christ, you'll gain it. Amen?
Amen.
I'll put it like this. It would be like if we had Chloe go over here and just start playing on a piano over there. No. What'd she say?
She doesn't know how to play.
She doesn't know how to play the piano. But just think of someone like Chloe were to come in here, just go over there and start, banging on the piano and just having a great old time while she was doing it, making all this noise and everything else. Then walks in someone else who was obviously a skilled musician, and they sit down and they start stroking those ivories and start making beautiful music. Even with a piano that's out of key. A good musician can make it sound good. Are you hearing what I'm saying?
Amen.
That skilled musician is free to play that instrument just like it was designed. We were created to walk in fellowship with an almighty God. Get this. We were created to walk in fellowship. Wait, let me back up. Before we were created, there was a plan. There was a design for our makeup. We were designed to walk in fellowship. But sin hinders that relationship by enslaving us and separating us from God. Amen?
Amen.
Christ is the only one who can set us free to enjoy life as a child of God. Instead of living as a slave in this world. It's interesting, historically speaking, that there were still those, even in American history, if you look back, after we had our Civil War and after the slaves were set free, did you know there were slaves that did not want to leave their masters? Why? Because they were taken care of. They loved their masters. And think about that for a moment. So were they really ever slaves?
Oh, they knew.
Some of them.
Now there were those who were slaves and they were working against their will and they suffered many bad things. But there were still those that after the war they wanted to stay on. But there are times when we realize we've got to move on. But see, this freedom can be kind of dangerous. And that's where, actually, I think I will get through this. Because even Jesus clearly declared that freedom was possible. Amen? But the sad reality is that very few experience freedom.
Amen.
Listen to me. Very few experiences freedom. There are many, I'll say it again, there are many who are saved, but they're still bound. They're not free. Does that mean they're not going to make it to heaven? I'm not saying that. That's not for me to tell. All I'm telling you is that they're missing out on the greater part of living for Christ. Amen?
Amen.
I've got a few things. Let me tell you what could possibly be. Maybe can I talk about us? Let's have a little discussion here right now. I want to tell you some of the things that is causing many of us to have stumbling blocks or things that are hindering us from freedom. Number one is ignorance. Jesus declared a new truth that some who did not know the freedom was available. They didn't know it was there. They didn't know they could be free. And the Bible describes those who lacked knowledge of his ministry. Matter of fact, he said that. He said, you know what? You don't know me and you don't know my Father. They were ignorant. They were living in darkness. But Jesus came to bring light to those who lived in darkness. You shall know the truth. The Bible says that, well, listen, light came to darkness and darkness just didn't get it, did it? And there are still some today that the light has come to them. They have a knowledge of Christ, but they're not living free for him. Amen?
Amen.
Another one is arrogance. Arrogance. Did you know the two together? That's a dangerous combination.
Amen.
But arrogance in and of itself. The Pharisees stated that they had never lived as slaves. They said, it's just not an accuracy. We've never lived as slaves. What it is arrogant. Israel had experienced slavery under the Assyrian Empire, the Babylonian Empire, all down the Persian Empire. Oh, wait a minute. They had experienced slavery under the Roman Empire. We've never been slaves. But their greatest slavery was this. The slavery of their own sins. Are you hearing what I'm saying this morning?
Amen.
They were unwilling to admit that they had failed to meet God's holy standard. They had lived by this legalistic code, and they arrogantly rejected what God offered. You know what God offers you today?
Life.
Amazing grace, how sweet.